Hello there. Today we're taking a look at some of the weirdest, wildest, and most unbelievable places on Earth. Get ready, cause this ride is going to be strange and a little bit spooky, but a lot of fun too. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe.
My weight is on the line. I am out over top.
I've not considered these doors may not be that secure. Oh shit. Absolutely unbelievable. So we've now got to a stage where
Our first stop is a place that has been burning non-stop for over 50 years. No, it's not a metal concert or a scene from a dystopian movie. It's real. Meet the Darvaza gas crater, better known as the Gates of Hell, located in the middle of the vast Turkmenistan desert. And, trust me, the name isn't an exaggeration. Here's the wild story behind it. In the 1970s, Soviet engineers drilled for natural gas in the desert. Everything went well until, oops, the ground suddenly collapsed, creating a gigantic gaping hole. Natural gas started spewing out like some kind of nightmarish vent from the underworld. And what was the brilliant solution? Let's set it on fire. That should burn it off in a few days. Well, 50 years later, the fire is still going strong. Imagine standing on the edge of a pit 230 feet wide and nearly 100 feet deep, with flames shooting out like it's the world's angriest campfire. The ground rumbles beneath your feet. There's no smoke. And at night, the entire desert glows with an eerie orange hue. It's mesmerizing and terrifying all at once, like staring into another dimension where fire rules and never stops. The sound alone is enough to freak you out. The crater hisses constantly, like a jet engine that's permanently on full throttle. It makes the whole experience feel like something out of a nightmare, or maybe a very weird dream. And if that's not insane enough, in 2013, a man named George Kourounis actually climbed into the crater. Yes, you heard me right, into the fiery pit. He went down to collect samples and see if anything could survive in such extreme conditions. And guess what? He found life. Tiny microorganisms thriving in the flames, proving once again that life always finds a way even in hell. The government has talked about putting out the fire to protect the environment, but so far, the gates of hell are still wide open. If you find this site fascinating, you might want to go soon, just in case they finally decide to close the fiery door. Okay, so a giant burning pit in the desert is strange, but how about a river underwater? Sounds impossible, right? Well, Cenote Angelita in Mexico defies logic. Deep in the jungles of Quintana Roo, Mexico, lies the cenote, a natural sinkhole filled with crystal clear water. From the surface, it looks like any other tranquil pool, but dive deeper, much deeper, and you'll find something otherworldly. At around 100 feet down, you'll come across an underwater river, a swirling, eerie cloud that sneaks along the cenote's floor. But it's not actually water, it's hydrogen sulfide, a gas that forms when salt water from the ocean mixes with the fresh water of the cenote. This thick cloud of gas looks exactly like a river, complete with banks lined by fallen trees and leaves. Imagine floating above this fog-like layer, watching it curl and twist below you. Almost feels like you've stumbled into some lost underwater world, untouched by time. The trees are ghostly, the water is silent, and the whole scene feels like it's straight out of a fantasy novel. But this is no fantasy. It's just another bizarre twist in our planet's natural wonders. Divers from all over the world travel to Cenote Angelita for a chance to see this otherworldly sight. Just be warned, the deeper you go, the darker and creepier it gets. But if you're up for an adventure, it's definitely one for the books. Next on our list is not just dangerous, it's actually deadly. Meet Death Road in Bolivia, officially called the Youngest Road, but its nickname gives you a better idea of what to expect. Perched high up in the Andes Mountains, this road is a 40-mile-long nightmare, carved into the side of the cliffs. It's only about 10 feet wide, with no guardrails, and one wrong move will send you tumbling down a 2,000-foot drop into the jungle below. Did I mention it's also prone to landslides, mudslides, and sudden rainstorms? Not exactly a safety sign, but hey, it's still an adventure, right? For decades, this was the main route between La Paz and the town of Coroico. Every day, buses, trucks, and cars would creep along this narrow road, trying not to go over the edge, and when two vehicles met, well, one had to back up on a path barely wide enough for one until they could pass. Not surprisingly, between 200 and 300 people lost their lives on death road every year. In 2006, Bolivia built a safer road, but that hasn't stopped thrill seekers from flocking to death road. Mountain bikers from all over the world come here to ride down the world's most dangerous road. If you're brave enough to try it, just remember, once you start, there's no turning back. Literally, the road is too narrow to turn around. If you think the surface of Earth is wild, wait until you hear about what's lurking in its depths. The Mariana Trench is the deepest part of the ocean, plunging an unbelievable 36,000 feet into the abyss. That's about 7 miles deep. And at the very bottom is a place so dark and hostile, it's been nicknamed the Hadal Zone, after the underworld of Greek mythology. Scientists once believed nothing could survive here. After all, the pressure down there is so intense, it would crush you like a tin can. But in 1960, explorers Jacques Piccard and Don Walsh descended in a tiny submarine to the bottom of the trench. It took 5 hours, and at one point, the sub's windows even cracked under the immense pressure. But they made it, and they found life. Pale shrimp and strange fish were swimming around as if they hadn't just reached the world's most extreme depths. In 2012, filmmaker James Cameron followed in their footsteps and made another solo descent into the trench. He too found life down there, bizarre, alien-like creatures that survive on chemicals from the Earth's crust. It's a hidden world that proves life can exist in even the harshest environments on Earth. If you're afraid of snakes, you might want to skip this next one. Snake Island, or Ilha de Queimada Grande off the coast of Brazil, is home to 4,000 of the most venomous snakes on the planet. Specifically, golden lancehead vipers, whose venom can melt flesh. No big deal, right? This island is so dangerous that the Brazilian government has banned anyone from visiting, except for scientists brave enough to study these deadly creatures. There's said to be about 1 snake per square meter. So no matter where you step, there's always a snake nearby. Needless to say, it's not exactly a hot tourist destination, but for the snakes, it's paradise. Let's switch things up now from creepy critters to extreme heat. Welcome to Death Valley in California, the hottest place on Earth. In 1913, it reached a scorching 134 degrees Fahrenheit, the highest temperature ever recorded. People have literally fried eggs on the ground here. No joke. Unfortunately, with almost no rain and searing temperatures, people who visit are at risk of heat stroke and dehydration. Each year, a few unfortunate souls don't make it out of the valley alive. So, just in case you're planning a visit, make sure you bring plenty of water and never take your shoes off, cause the ground can get hot enough to burn your feet. Also, a word to the wise, park rangers are pretty tired of cleaning up eggshells from people trying to fry eggs. So maybe just enjoy the view without the breakfast experiment. Let's travel to Wakan, a small village in eastern Russia. This is the coldest inhabited place on Earth, with winter temperatures regularly hitting -58°F and sometimes plummeting as low as -90°F. To put that in perspective, it's actually warmer on Mars than in Wakan. Life here is brutal. Cars have to be kept running all day to prevent them from freezing solid. Pipes don't work, and most people rely on frozen meat and fish for food since growing crops is nearly impossible. Want to build a house or dig a grave? Well, you'll need to light a fire for a few days just to thaw the ground. Still, despite the freezing temperatures, about 500 people call Wakan home. So, if you think your winters are rough, imagine living in a place where even your eyelashes can freeze. Well, there you have it. Some of the most extreme and bizarre places on Earth, whether it's the fiery depths of the Darvaza gas crater or the frozen wastelands of Wakan. These spots remind us just how weird and wonderful our planet really is. Would you dare visit any of these places? Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video around the world, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe for more adventures, and let us know in the comments. Which one of these bizarre places would you want to visit?